All right, welcome back to Real Cast Fishing. Your host, Glenn, with the City of Adelaide Fishing Field Team, the COAF Field Team on YouTube. And this round, what do I have for you? Well, we got some last-minute, gift ideas for the ultralight fishing fan. In this case, ultralight fishing bait finesse style, ultralight bait casting gear. Okay, and so I just finished up the Amazon live stream, and I'm just kind of tacking onto it here on YouTube. Just to talk some of the gear that we've had, or that we just mentioned previously. And hey, it's got enough time. You might be able to still pick up some of this gear here. And hey, let's see. Let's see where it takes us. Okay. All right. So I'll start out with some line. Okay. When I'm ultralight bait casting, I kind of like having some Strand mono, just plain old original Strand mono. And in this case, the high vis orange model. That baby right there. All right. I like it because I'm one of those line watchers. I like watching the line when I'm fishing, especially with this ultralight bait casting gear, especially for trout and whatnot, if not bass. Okay. And I went ahead and just got the big spool because, hey, it helps. Okay. All right, and you got to put it on a reel. There's two particular reels that I've been using here lately. This is the Shimano Corrado BFS XG, and you can see I've got that orange Strand mono on there. Additionally, I've got the Shimano Scorpion BFS XG, and this one has a 4-pound Strand mono. Okay, so yeah, you can go with the high dollar. I guess braided line and whatnot, or ultralight lines and whatnot. I just go with Strand mono. Give you a little kind of, some leeway when it comes to fish striking. That little stretch kind of helps you. So, hey, keep that in your back pocket. The other thing is from a rod standpoint. This one's an old Berkeley Lightning rod here, but I also use this one that I picked up at Amazon, the Handing Magic L. Both in the 6-foot as well as 4.5-foot models. Work really well, can handle 1 gram trout magnets, no problem when I'm using the Flight Feather Kingfisher. And then additionally, this one is the Shimano Corrado BFS I mentioned. It's on a Shakespeare Ugly Stick, the Elite Graphite. And this is one that I'm doing double duty where I'm using it for ultralight gear as well as making press to make a run to the coast and maybe catch a fish or two. Howdy. It looks like we've got someone on board here. How's it going? Just going through maybe some last minute ideas for this upcoming, it's Christmas Eve. So, hey, heads up. Maybe there might be some specific one. All right. Looks like we got another individual on. Howdy. Okay. Other things to keep in your back pocket. Last minute ideas. Power bait. Right here, power bait trout worms. Those have been really well. Been doing really well for yours truly from an ultralight fishing gear standpoint. Did learn this year from another individual who showed us how they are using these, using the drop shot technique. So a little light sinker on the bottom and then a drop shot tied hook, and using this right here. One warning with that is there is a tendency to deep hook the trout when you are reeling it in or setting the hook if you delay. So once you get a little tap, go ahead and set the hook. See if you can get them pretty close to the lips versus a deep set hook. And that way you can give it a chance to maybe do a little catch and release, as well as maybe make some adjustments depending on what trout you get. Other, I'd say, ideas to keep in your back pocket for the fishermen, the ultralight fishermen, is do have some super dupers handy, okay? Right there. And the super duper, I would suggest having copper, gold, silver, a light color like the rainbow trout, and black. Those tend to have some good ones in your back pocket when it's coming to fishing. Where I get those, my dad, we're just talking about fishing next week. Which one? Where do you get the super dupers? You You can get them on Amazon, or you can typically get them, let's say Walmart, as well as Cabela's, Bass Pro. All those locations have those typically, unless they're sold out. I know Cabela's has a one section that is kept in. I don't know. It's over there where their trout fishing gear is. That includes the Berkeley Power Bait stuff. Those are good to go. Academy also carries this stuff as well. Let's see. Other ultralights to keep in your back pocket. I like having the rooster tail. Okay. Right here. Yakima rooster tail. 1/16 ounce when I'm talking ultralight fishing gear for those trout. All right. Good to go. What I suggest there is when you get the pack, there's a pack that comes out. They call it the trout pack, and it comes in different sizes: 1/16, 1/30, or no, 1/16, 1/8. Yeah, I would say if you're going ultralight, have those 1/16 ounce ones. Both these rods, the right here, the Shimano Corrado BFS-XG as well as a Scorpion, no problem handling a 1/16 ounce lure. But I would say if you're not getting the pack, at least there's a model called the Fighter Tiger. That one seems to do the best when it comes to catching some trout and whatnot. So yeah, so it looks just like this, except the Fire Tiger has some chartreuse, orange, and some other coloration in there. They do offer them also with the single hook versus the treble hook. Yeah, I know treble hook versus single hook. You can get them on and off easier, but I tend to lean toward the treble hook because, well, I tend to get a lot of missed hook sets with the singles, especially with these little light ultralights. Mepps Anglia is another good one to have. That also comes in they call it the trout pack. And that one comes in different colors: gold, silver, and copper. And it's just the plain variety right there. Okay. And the main thing there is when you cast it, I would say just a steady retrieve and you're good to go. All right. And then when it comes to the trout magnet right here, this is another good one to have in your back pocket. You can fish it as is, or you can fish it under a bobber. When you fish it under the bobber, you have an ability to at least twitch the bobber so it kind of does a vertical presentation. So it'll kind of twitch it and it comes straight up and then comes straight down. That may be, the difference between striking out a trip or limiting out, because that presentation is what they were looking for, a vertical retrieve versus more horizontal as they're moving through the water. Okay. Other things to keep in your back pocket when it comes to presentation, maybe that significant other or other friend or whatever that you're hooking up with some fishing gear, maybe you might give them a heads up as to how to fish this gear, or at least my recommendation on how to fish this gear. In the case of the Super Duper, as well as the Rooster Tail and the Mepps Anglia trout, plain trout, cast it out and a steady retrieve, like so. Just a steady retrieve to keep in the case of Super Duper, to keep the lure kind of moving at a slight vertical right here. Kind of moves through the water like so, and it's kind of an angle right there. And then when you stop, it may kind of, flutter, and that could be a lot of times when that trout is striking. So tell your folks that you buy some of this gear for, hey, try using that technique when it comes to the Super Duper. The other thing is when you are using that Super Duper, you can also do a stop and go retrieve. So cast, reel, and then stop. 1 to 3 seconds, or 1 to 3 count, or maybe longer. Just kind of play it by ear until you find out that pattern. Okay. The other case is the countdown retrieve. And this one, there's been a couple places in at least my local area where that countdown retrieve seems to be the one that works. And in the countdown retrieve, you cast it out and count. And in some cases, 5 to 6 count. Other cases, 10 count. You let it flutter down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you start doing a steady retrieve again. There's one particular place I fished here locally. It was a 10 count, and then it was a slow retrieve back in, and I could almost feel the super duper kind of bouncing along the bottom, and I could also feel that fish kind of striking. And hey, motto from our channel: when in doubt, set the hook. So hey, if it feels like something struck, go ahead and set the hook, because you may be surprised that you got a fish on the other end. Okay? So other, let's say, stocking stuffers. You're trying to get something for your buddy, fishing buddy. Any one of these would work. The power baits, the super duper, the firetail, or correction, the rooster tails, and the Meps Anglia. All those are good ones, stocking stuffers to have for the fisherman trout, ultralight trout fisherman. Definitely want to keep that in your back pocket. Let's see. And then it doesn't hurt to give them a spooler of line, because you always need some line and whatnot. So you don't have to give them the big spool. You can get them a smaller filler one. But I do like this one. And like I was saying, I like that orange high-vis color, because I can see my line, especially if you're fishing Senkos. If you're fishing Senkos, I'll typically cast them out and let it flutter to the bottom and whatnot, and then just start reeling them in, be it a twitchy retrieve or a jerk or two. But I'm watching that line, because a lot of times when you're fishing Senkos, they will pick up the Senko and run with it. And a lot of times when you are able to see your line, you can see that it's coming in or coming out or running, be it left or right. But you see that movement first before you actually get the feel on the strike when you are fishing. So, get your fishing friends a gift of some fishing line. They can always use that. All right. And if you do want to go crazy, go ahead and get them a whole rod combo. I definitely like this one. This is the one I'm going to do double duty. Shimano Corrado BFSXG. I got that Fire Tiger rooster tail on there right now. And I've got it on a ugly stick, the Elite Graphite ugly stick. And this is the one that I purposely got for some speckled trout fishing here on the Texas coast when we're fishing under the lights. Live lining. In this case, my plan is all I'm going to have is a treble hook and a live mullet on the end, and I'll be fishing them under the lights, be it at a fishing pier on the Texas coast or along the beach and whatnot, and just kind of play around with it. And what I noticed is I was using some bass fishing gear and some heavy spinning gear this past season, and had a hard time casting it. But if I shifted over to some BFS gear, I was able to cast these little 3 to 4 inch mullet, no problem. All right, fishy flies. Merry Christmas. Only stop in real quick, but I hope you have an amazing. Oh, appreciate it. Yeah. Merry Christmas. Hope everyone else as well. I just wanted to kind of kick off a little live stream while we had the opportunity, and just kind of cap on the Amazon live stream that I just finished up, and just kind of point out some maybe last-minute fishing gifts and whatnot, specifically targeting the ultralight fishermen, in this case, trout fishing. Okay, so I mentioned power bait. Yeah, that's always good. The trout dough bait, that's in fact the first power bait that I started using way back when, and yeah, that stuff's amazing. You'd be surprised what they'll hit. But hey, doesn't mean that you have to use trout baits. Sometimes they just want. There's been times where they just wanted salmon eggs. There's been other times where they just wanted one of your grocery store baits. So cheese, bread. Let's see. I did see some folks out there. You know that croissant rolls that come in the like a little tube. I saw some folks out there using that as their bait, where they pop it open there, and because it's so squishy, they can get it on the hook, no problem. And they did really well there. And then, of course, there is corn. Yeah, trout like that corn. In fact, if you have an opportunity, go look in the channel, do a quick search, COAF, to capture the field team channel, and then do corn for bait or corn for trout. and you'll see some of the underwater video footage of yours truly putting out some corn with the underwater camera and getting some firsthand look at the trout going for corn. And in fact, the one that I posted shows trout. I always thought trout were more not bottom feeders, but would feed above the bottom. And what I learned from that video is that corn was falling on the bottom, getting all the greenery that was on the bottom of this one pond, and trout were digging in there trying to get the corn and in other cases the power bait. So yeah, they are on the bottom. And another thing that I took away from that was a lot of times I'd have the bait sitting there and trout moving around but ignoring things. But as soon as I started moving the lure or the bait in, trying to recast, that's when I'd have like 4 or 5 trout just start chasing it. So keep that in your back pocket. If you are having a slow day out there and maybe you have a Carolina rigged bait and whatnot, and you're not getting any hits, try doing some movement, and you'll be surprised. There may be some strikes that, just that movement was enough to get them to finally strike. And there's one video I remember when I was going through editing it that I cast it out, and a good 5-10 minutes it just sat there, and trout were just moving in and out of the frame, but not doing anything with the corn. But when I started reeling in, next thing you know, I got 4 or 5 just kind of chasing it, actually hitting the bait and whatnot, and just didn't hook them, but definitely nice to know. So keep that in your back pocket. All right, so hey, what's the key takeaway there then for a last minute gift for your trout fishing friends? Go get your can of the corn. What is it? The one that's on the kernel. You can get the can or the little small one, especially the pop top ones, like a 6-pack of them, and put that in as a stocking stuffer for your trout fishing friend. Just say, hey, fishing tip from the field team, Carolina rig, and make sure you give us some movement and reel in slowly. All right, and if the grocery stores are still open, you have a good opportunity to just get your little stocking stuffer in there. Last minute gift for those that may have. Oops, I forgot to get a particular person a gift. You know, and even then, if they don't use it for trout, you can always just use it for dinner. You know, put it in the microwave, pop it in there, get it all cooked up and everything, and or heated, and you got something to eat. All right, all right. I guess that's a good thing about having grocery store baits. It does remind me there was a time where, I won't say who, but it was a particular, it was my daughter. We were out fishing one day, and I was using bread for bait along with cheese. So I had bread, cheese, and I was fishing a pond with catfish. And I noticed that after about 15, 20 minutes or so, I'd caught a few. I looked down, and I'm wondering where all my bread went. And sure enough, I see my daughter with a quick version of a non-grilled cheese sandwich. Just kind of threw in the cheese and put it on the bread and made a sandwich out of it. And there's my bait and whatnot gone. And yeah, I remember that. I still give her a hard time for that. Anyways, that's the danger with grocery store baits is, if you get hungry, you can just go ahead and make you a little quick sandwich or two. Just make sure you have them separate from the bait you've already used, and make sure you wash your hands some or put on some gloves. All right. Let's see. Let me go ahead and look and do my ultralight fishing gear. So I got a bunch of gear that I had talked about previously, but now let's kind of shift things and talk about other potential stocking stuffers, last minute gifts that maybe you might be able to hook up with some others. I'm getting stuff mixed up here. My bad. All right, so here's a set of gear that I have that I mixed in the let's see, these super dupers. So let me go ahead and get these rearranged. Super duper city. There's the gold, the rainbow trout. And this rainbow trout one, I fished this one in rivers as well as ponds and had some really good success. It's all tangled up right now, but right there. Okay. Let me see if I can get this off the deal here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, but let's go ahead and talk about some other gear that I didn't talk about earlier that may be of interest, maybe some stocking stuffers as well. Okay. Merry Christmas. All right, Merry Christmas, Navy Man 055. Oh, yeah. It's that fun time. So last minute stocking stuffer for the ultralight fishermen. In this case, we're talking non-trout, but hey, give it a try. This is the Z-Man Ned rig with these shroom heads, and it lands like so. They're fairly light. The thing I like about this, the Z-Man Ned rig, is I can pull this and it does not break. I'm pulling hard. It does not break. This is a tough plastic, all right? And in fact, I think I still have the whole set of this. The only reason why I've had to replace these is because they broke off, because my line broke. I've yet to have one pull off the hook. And look at this. It doesn't break. It does not break. Okay. One thing, though, is you do want to make sure you don't mix it with any other plastics, because I think there's some chemical or some reaction it may have, and they'll start deteriorating. So make sure when you get these, you keep them separate from your other plastics, else you may get a little mushiness in there. But that said, here I am. I've been keeping them with my trout magnets right here, and well, I guess you're good to go with trout magnets because I've had them here all season, and they didn't have any reaction. So I guess you get a buy on the trout magnet. Okay. Other stocking stuffer is these blade baits. Okay. And the thing about the blade bait that I like, especially when I'm doing ultralight gear, this one I believe is a 1/4 ounce one. Oh, shoot, excuse me, I dropped it. There we go. Right here, this blade bait, and I've got it on the middle hole. Okay, right there. And this one has been a sure getter when I've been fishing up in Oklahoma for some white bass. Okay, nice little vibration that it gives. I've been using it on this Shimano Corrado BFS XG, and it's done some wonders when it comes to casting and getting that feel when they strike. Okay, and it rides kind of vertical like so, and it does this vibration that, hey, the white bass are definitely wanting to hit it, especially if you're sight casting to some schools breaking on the surface. Definitely a good one. Okay, next stocking stuffer. Think of the Yuzuri snap bean. Okay, and this one right here, I was using the Flight Feather Kingfisher ultralight reel on a Magic L, Handing Magic L rod, 4.5 foot rod, and this Yuzuri snap bean, and I caught a 28-inch catfish with it using 2-pound test line, and yeah, I was surprised, but it did take. It was a nice sized catfish. I ended up putting it back in the pond, and no problem. He's probably still there. But anyways, what's nice about this is it's more of like a square bill, almost like a square bill lure. Rides fairly shallow, and it has a nice side to side enticing movement. And well, I've caught bass, I've caught bluegill, I've got catfish with this setup, and yeah. It's a fun one for the ultralight fishermen. Okay. All right. Next one is, this is the Husky Jerk Ghost minnow, I think, by Rapala. I don't don't have it here, but it's the X-Wrap, and that one is also another good one to use. But this is, let's make sure, Paula. Yeah, no, actually, this is the X-Wrap. All right. Yeah, right here, X-Wrap. What's nice about this is it is a neutrally buoyant lure, so once it dives down, it'll stay in place and suspend. So I definitely like those suspending baits. I fished this one last at a local pond here and caught a number of bass with it. And a lot of times I was getting that strike right at the tail end within rod length from my rod, the bass striking. And typically I would just stop and boom, that's when they hit, that little suspending. And it would just kind of stop mid-retrieve, and there'd be a bass kind of trailing behind it, and then next thing you know, it's like, hey, he stopped, I'm going to hit him now. And hey, very, very good one for a stocking stuffer, if you know what I mean. And yeah. Yep. Then, of course, for your DIY person, I've got some DIY lures, in this case, do-it-yourself inline spinners. I've made different versions of it, and because I like kind of playing around and seeing what different weightings there are. So like this one weighs less than a 1/16 ounce. And all it is a Panther Martin style blade, treble hook, and a little cone, little body right there. And that one has worked well for any of the fish that you can catch in a pond, basically. Okay. And then taking it one step further, I added a little worm sinker right here. 1/16 ounce, so it's a little bit heavier than 1/16 ounce. Went with a bigger hook with this one. Same Panther Martin blade, and that one has done well. And then take the same thing, but a smaller hook, and in this case, a smaller blade, like so, and that one has done well. Okay. So from a stocking stuffer standpoint, and the DIY fisherman who wants to kind of play around and make their own lures, I'd say get you a set of those. All right. And the main thing, I kind of lean toward the Panther Martin style because I only need the blade itself. I don't need that extra little clevis piece that you have to add if you're just using your traditional willow blade, Colorado blade spinners, or blades. Yeah. Okay. All right. Wonder if anyone has any questions or anything at this point. I think I've got everything I wanted to throw at you for my last minute gift ideas, like stocking stuffer piece. So I mentioned filler lines, smooth lines of fishing line is always good. And I definitely like the orange high vis because I am a line watcher. When I see the line, watch the line as I'm fishing, and I can see the different reaction the line may have to a fish striking. It's always a good to be able to see what you are, or to see that line to maybe set the hook right when you need to. Okay, and then of course reels, Shimano Corrado or Shimano Scorpion, and the Shimano Corrado. Been happy with both of these. Okay. Do have some more back there, but these are the two that I've been using most recently. All right. So with that, I wish you guys have a Merry Christmas and all for now. Next time we'll catch y'all later. And good luck and good fishing.